Our next speaker is Dr. Pallavi Vedantam, a senior expert in science and technology and has a deep-rooted interest in music from the US. She will be speaking on the psychological and neurological impact of music on our lives. Dr. Pallavi Vedantam.
Hello, everyone. I would like to welcome all of you to the World Music Conference. It's been exciting to be a part of this series of conferences that I have been a part of, and I would like to thank Chitraji for making me a part of such a wonderful learning platform. The topic of conversations around this conference have been really significant and have allowed our minds to escape into a world of understanding how music can affect our lives psychologically, neurologically, and also financially. We very recently had a very big conference in Europe, for example, for understanding the mechanisms, the tools that are available for artificial intelligence and how artificial intelligence can impact businesses and global businesses all around the world. In order to have some ground rules, in order to define some policies, in order to define some rules and regulations of using AI to drive the economy was the most important theme of this conference, as we all know. But the topic that we are going to look at today is how AI is being used to change music that has been created culturally. So how cultural music is impacted by the different deep learning, machine learning avenues that we have currently. So we all know that the music industry is, constantly changing the dynamics of creating music. In this current day and age, technology is all the rage. And we have been introduced to programs that can create music. There are different kinds of websites that have an opportunity for anybody, including me and you, to go ahead and give it a shot if you have basic foundational understanding of music. All that we need to know is the 7 notes, the sounds that we want to hear. And this technology, the artificial intelligence, can affect our culture via different AI platforms that have been provided. Now, in order to understand the impact of AI on cultural music, it is important to understand how in the first place this technology is used, how in the first place this technology evolved, and how in the first place is this technology being used to create more cultural music based upon what is already established. So in order to create music culturally, culture is art, art is tradition, and tradition is deep-rooted in the different civilizations that have evolved over time historically. And so when art imitates life, we all know art imitates life, the sounds of the cuckoo bird or the sounds of the waves of the ocean or the calming sounds of the mother nature when you walk into a forest and you take a walk with your serene mind, or the sounds of the hustles and bustles on a busy street when you're walking across, the sounds of the celebration and jubilation during a graduation or a wedding or a birthday or any kind of celebration of a wedding, for example. All these sounds have become a very integral part of our cultural music because the first exposure to human mind came through our traditions, came through our culture, and came through the surroundings that we or the musicians were currently in. So we all know that there is a deep, dense plethora of different kinds of music. You can find classical, semi-classical, all the different genres that you can think of. And all this music has been documented over time. And with the help of technology, these pieces of music have been digitized. And so now we have digitized pieces of music that are sitting somewhere on the internet in the part of the digital technology. And there is a code written for identifying that particular technology. So artificial intelligence is not a recent threat that you're finding in different fields, but it has always been there. It has been there for helping us to search thousands and billions of scripts via code and give you a correct answer. For example, when you do a Google search or you do a Bing search, how is it that we find information so fast, right? It's because of the help of AI. So it has been there. It has been there in the form of face recognition software. It has been there in the form of different kinds of recognition softwares. But how did it get adapted to music? Now, it can augment our lives if we optimize it properly, or it can disengage us from altogether cultural pieces of music. And so that's what I'm trying to share with all of you, and also trying to learn from all of you as fellow musicians. And me being a music connoisseur, that I like to listen to music, I want to make sure that, culturally our music is not lost. We had recent episodes a couple of years ago where somebody created fake music of Drake, for example, right? This is just one of the very simple examples. There have been many more such examples. So when music is created in such a manner, all that you need to know is that it has 7 notes. If it's a monophonic music, for example, just piano, for example, or you have a multi different range of instruments that you want to add into it with the help of the 7 notes, you can play around the sounds, you can play around the tonal modalities, you can play around the frequencies, you can play around the output of how you want it to look like. You can reduce and increase the bandwidth of all these different instruments in one piece of music. So there are established softwares that will actually allow you to create such music. They will allow you to make sure that it's copyrighted to your creation, and it's a business, and it's a great business model. But in that process, in that huge pile of information, this huge pile of algorithms that are designed to shift, or slit through the pile of information that we currently have, the data, and analyze the existing pieces of music and create new musical notes or musical pieces based upon the culturally historical music pieces or data in real time, is something that is very interesting. It's a challenge for all other musicians who have, created music from the depths of their heart, so to speak, from their brainchild. So such AI enabling music, is enabling the music industries with different kinds of tools that I just mentioned. To give you just an example of another platform where you can, register and sign up, and for a limited amount of fee that you pay, you can actually create music, and you can also test if this is already newly created piece of music based upon what is available, or this is a completely similar piece of music. So you have what are known as, in the deep learning models or machine learning models based coded websites, the 2 different aspects of music generators. There are a lot of music generators out there, and so you have what is known as a generator, and you have what is known as a discriminator. Now, in the case of a generator, it generates the kind of music that you are intending to create. You can, different kinds of styles. For example, you could do classical, you could do rock, you could do jazz, you could do hip hop, you could do electronic. Suit yourself. Now, once this music is completely created through this digital platform, the generator then hands it over to the discriminator that decides whether this composition that you came up with is real, or is it close to the real, or it is completely different from the real. And so we have different kinds of creativity options that are revolutionizing the music production business. And such ramifications can be easily felt, through this altered creativity levels that is now becoming such a grand source of information, where the rapid space and rapid speed at which this music is digitized, it's copyrighted, and we are losing touch with our deep roots of our traditions and our cultures through music. Now, we all know the music creation process is very long. It requires great inspiration. It's aesthetic to some extent. It's laborious, and it's definitely collaborative. You cannot just be one person sitting and creating different kinds of music. You need a percussionist, you need keys, you need all kinds of instruments for this piece of music to come together. So it's highly collaborative, to be cohesive, and to be presentable. Now, AI can shorten the time, of course. With that technology, it can shorten the long, laborious process, and it can create musical compositions by simply screening complex pieces of music compositions, audio recordings, music scores, all kinds of arrangements in a matter of seconds, and efficiently generate new music structured on the patterns learned from existing compositions. Now, what is the downside and what is the upside? Apart from time efficiency, the styles of music are very fluidic. With the help of AI, as evolving AI algorithms, they can generate music in various styles, which can be trained to generate music in wide range of styles that I just mentioned. So if you are a person who is culturally rooted into only listening to certain type of music, you can get inspired via AI to create the same kind of music with a different tonal or different range of creativity by adding more instruments of different styles, like classic rock, or you can make it jazz electronic. You can couple two different styles. So therefore, it can be a versatile tool, if I may say so, in music production specifically, to create unique music styles that are not possible with traditional methods. Technology in recording pieces of music requires a sound environment that is, with different kinds of digital technology, enables to create this piece of music without any background. And we all know the specifics of music creation, music production, and music recording. How does AI take out the cultural aspect of it? It does it by a push of a button, sitting in a room very conveniently, where the human interaction, the human touch to the music is completely out of scope. Now, when you listen to a rendition, when you go to an opera, or when you go to a classical concert, when you go to a hip hop concert, when you go to any kinds of traditional, theater, for example, when you see the human being sitting or standing and performing in front of you, it's that consciousness, the human collective consciousness, that collectively tunes into the performer's performance consciousness, so to speak. And it's a language. It's a language with no code. And now we are trying to create a language with code. And so AI removes that complete interactive process of human experience, where the notes that are delivered by the composition, or by the person who is performing the music presenter, when it hits the auditory canals, it doesn't reach the human touch. I think that's the downside of the AI creativity. The audience appeal is a central focus of music. It is the USP of the music industry, as we all agree and we all are aware of. We pay huge sums of amounts, we save up from our salary, and we want to go and sit down, and we want to sit in a hall, and we just want to enjoy this beautiful piece of music and be lost, forget about all our worries or trials and tribulations, and just enjoy a piece of music. And so digital music production takes away that human touch via the AI generated music. And so it's not palatable at some time, and it is important to keep it in our mind that any music that is created is culturally relevant. So if you go to any music composition and you want to find the history of that composition, and then you go back to the composer and you ask him, what were you thinking when you created that piece of music? He or she will tell you that there was some kind of a history to their existence that allowed different circumstances to bring out that emotion in the form of a piece of music. And I think that's what culturally is required in music. And all the music that has been patented long, long ago, we can talk from Shakespeare or pre-Shakespearean times, we receive appropriate adulation or compensation in establishing these types of music because they're original. The sound is original, and the audition is original, and the feeling, the emotion that comes with it was also completely original. Now, culturally, you know, not many significant measures have been taken to treasure the last 30 years. There have been different organizations, charitable and non-charitable organizations, that have gone above and beyond to patent their music, to make sure it's legalized in order to protect from AI-generated music. And this is a topic of discussion that needs to be discussed. This is the elephant in the room that we all need to sit down and think about as music composers or as music production companies. Now, personalized music is a hot topic. We all are completely aware of it. And that takes full advantage of AI algorithms that will allow producers to deliver personalized music for individual listeners tailored to their specific taste. And this is one simple grand example of machine learning or deep learning is your Spotify. If you have made your own favorite list, you go onto Spotify and it'll start suggesting similar music to you. This is just a small glimpse of personalized music. So creative music engagement can be achieved universally, definitely with a click of a button. There's no doubt about that. But there is no emphasis, and such an emphasis now should be on the fact that AI-generated music has all the buzz everywhere, has every one of us excited about it. However, it has a long ways to go, before it takes flight in the right direction. And the important stakeholders in this kind of legalizing and making policies around AI-generated music is not only the listener, but also the music generator using the AI tool generators. And conversations have to take place with music product producers, with artists, with the community which they are sharing, historians, more importantly, who have taken such painstaking efforts to conserve such cultural pieces of music. Also with AI tool generators who are rapidly creating websites to create music, must take place. These conversations must take place to understand how rapid and how unpredictable and advancing this groundbreaking tools of creating music through AI as a business model can become, and which can be well received by listeners only if our culture and our traditions are, deeply conserved in these different kinds of AI-generated music. So it's a very important topic that we should all keep in mind when we try to source a piece of music, and we try to respect the composer, we try to respect the way this piece of music was generated. It's just like going to a museum. You could go to a museum, you could stand in front of a piece of an art, and the joy that comes out of looking at a piece of a painting is not just the strokes. You're getting into the mind of the creator of that piece of art. And that's why all museums have such a deep connection, right? And in the same way, when cultural music is out there, put out there in different ways by individually created music or via deep learning machines or via AI generated tools, as a listener, we have to keep in mind, are we really enjoying this piece of music? Is this true piece of music? And what's the history behind of these pieces of music? And I think such conversations and such contemplations amongst music historians, amongst lawmakers, policymakers, and music producers is the call right now to understand that culture can be preserved and such technologies can be augmented. So next time when you listen to a piece of music, I hope it reminds you of your traditions, of your cultures from where you come from. Not only that, it also encourages you to understand more that where from this piece of music has come. So have a great session with the rest of the talks during this World Music Conference. And I really want to thank the organizers of World Music Conference for giving me this platform to share my thoughts and understanding of cultural music and AI-generated tools in creating music. Thank you, everyone. Have a great evening.
Our next speaker is Professor Samuel Quinto, FRSA, a renowned pianist, neuroscientist, and educator from Sao Paulo, Brazil. He is a full professor at University Anhembi Morumbi. He will be speaking on the secret to practicing music intelligently. Is there a right way we should be practicing music? Professor Samuel Quinto, FRSA.
Hi everyone, Professor Samuel Quinto here. The art of music has captivated human hearts and minds for centuries, with musicians and aspiring artists constantly seeking the most effective methods for honing their craft. One fundamental question that pervades the world of music education and practice is whether there is a right way to practice music intelligently. This abstract delves into the multifaceted facets of music practice, aiming to uncover the secrets behind intelligent musical development. In the question for musical excellence, it's crucial to recognize that there is no one-size-fits-all approach to practice music. Music is a highly subjective and personal endeavor, and what works for one musician may not be the best method for another. Nevertheless, certain principles and strategies can guide musicians towards more intelligent and effective practice sections. This abstract investigates the various aspects of practicing music intelligently, taking into consideration the following key elements. Goal setting. Effective music practice begins with setting clear and attainable goals. Musicians must have a precise vision of what they want to achieve in a practice section, whether it's mastering a challenging passage, improving overall technique, or interpreting a piece with emotional depth. Second, deliberate practice. Coined by psychologist Anders Ericsson, deliberate practice emphasizes focused and structured training with the intention of continuous improvement. Musicians must identify their weaknesses and work systematically to address them. 3. Mindful practice. Mindfulness techniques borrowed from meditation and yoga can be valuable in music practice. Being fully present in the moment, concentrate on the sounds and sensations can enhance musicians' connection to their instruments and the music they create. 4. Repetition and variation. Repetition is an integral part of practicing music. However, combine it with variation can help prevent boredom and facilitate skill development. Musicians can benefit from exploring different interpretations and techniques within a piece. 5. Time management. Efficient practice sections require careful time management. Musicians should allocate dedicated periods for warm-up, technical exercises, and repertoire, making the most of their available practice time. 6. Mental preparation. The mental aspects of practicing is often overlooked. Musicians can develop techniques for managing performance anxiety, enhance their concentration, and fostering a positive mindset. 7. Self-assessment. Regular self-assessment is crucial for growth. Recording and listening to one's playing, seeking feedback from peers or instructors, and maintaining a practice journal can provide valuable insights. 8. Interdisciplinary learning. Exploring other art forms such as dance or visual arts can provide fresh perspectives and inspiration for musicians, enhance their creativity and interpretation. 9. Technology and practice. Modern technology offers a wide range of tools and apps to aid in music practice, from metronomes and tuner apps to interactive sheet music. These can be valuable aids in achieving musical precision. The question of the right way to practice music intelligently remains complex. Ultimately, the most effective approach will depend on the individual, their musical goals, and the specific challenges they face. What is clear, however, is that a combination of these elements can help musicians develop the intelligence and skill necessary to excel in the world of music. This abstract highlights the intricate and the ever-evolving nature of music practice, underlining the significance of continuous exploration and adaptation in the pursuit of musical excellence. The secrets to intelligent music practice lie in the commitment to self-improvement, goal setting, and willingness to experiment with various strategies to discover what works best for each musician. I hope you enjoy this conversation. Thank you very much, Samuel Quinto. Goodbye.
Our next speaker is Professor Dr. Vinod Vivas, a former chair and currently professor at the Flame University of Fine and Performing Arts from Pune, India. He started working on a system that is accumulation of his academic background of fine arts, design, philosophy, logic, and doctoral research on creativity. He developed a software that generates computational Indian music using artificial intelligence. His artificially intelligent creative expert system generates a bandish and music composition in a given record and renders it in traditional classical style. His presentation today is on generative theory of Indian music. Professor Dr. Vinod Vivas.
Welcome. Today I am going to make a presentation on artificial intelligence and Indian music. The presentation focuses on how actually I spent more than 30 years on probing into the implementation of artificial intelligence for Indian music. So this presentation is divided into two parts. The first part of the presentation will be focusing on the theoretical aspect of artificial intelligence, and the second part is the live demonstration of how these systems, AI systems, work and generate musical compositions. So let's begin with the first part of the presentation. Title of today's presentation is The Generative Theory of Indian Music, GTIM, a computational paradigm for Indian AI music. I'm Dr. Vinod Vivas, Professor, Department of Design, Art and Performances, Flame University, Pune, India. So in this presentation, I would like to discuss certain salient features of this theory that I have developed based on my research on Indian AI music and whatever insights I have developed throughout this research. So let us go through, try to understand what are those insights. And as an outcome of this research, I wrote a book titled The Music of Minds and Machines, a deep dive into the generative theory of Indian music, recently published, and it is available freely downloadable on this website called https://computationalmusic.com/pdfs/the music of minds and machines.pdf. So, this is a theory that is developed based on my research on artificial intelligence and Indian music. Now, when we talk about artificial intelligence, it's a discipline that tries to simulate human behavior through machines. And there are many AI paradigms, many paradigms for artificial intelligence. When it began some 70 years back, initially they conducted research on, the focus was on rule-based expert systems. After that, the artificial neural networks became a major paradigm for artificial intelligence. But apart from that, nature-inspired computing, NIC, genetic algorithms, GA, artificial life paradigm, and generative grammars are some other important paradigms of artificial intelligence. However, my approach is slightly different. It doesn't completely rely on these paradigms. So current understanding of AI is that machine learning, that is ML, plus logical decision making is equal to artificial intelligence. But for generating Indian AI music, I have adopted a slightly different approach, and that is traditional wisdom plus musical decision making is equal to Indian musical artificial intelligence. Here I am putting emphasis on traditional wisdom because I have studied traditional treatises on Indian music. There are three treatises, the Naradiya Shiksha, Natya Shastra of Bharata, and Sangit Ratnakara of Sharangdeva. And all the principles and rules mentioned in these treatises I have used, and at times I have conducted further research, gone deeper into it and modified and fine-tuned those principles. And therefore, these treatises have very important significance in this research. The major insight of this theory called generative theory of Indian music, GTIM, is that Indian music by its nature is generative. So what is meant by generative? From the base swara or musical note, 7 musical notes as well as 22 microtones are generated. Even the musical scales are generated, ragas are generated, musical phrases, musical compositions, and all the desired musical expressions are generated by following consistent musicological process. And that is the major insight of this research, that Indian music is highly generative by nature. So I have developed this paradigm which I call musical or oral logic. And mainly this system of logic is based on the principles of consonances, such as the Shadja Pancham Bhava, which is also called the quotient of the fifth in Western music, the Shadja Madhyam Bhava, which is called the quotient of the fourth. And there are many other principles which are mentioned in the traditional treatises. So, based on these principles, I have developed the logic for Indian music. The GTIM provides a well-developed musical logic for generating ragas as well, based on the concept called Murchana or the altered scales. The GTIM also provides a raga classification scheme called Navagana Ragas, or the 9 ways to classify ragas. The generative theory of Indian music, GTIM, tries to define and characterize raga in a very simple way for computational purposes. So if we take a saptaka an octave made up of 7 swaras called sa, re, ga, ma, pa, dha, ni, as per the Indian tradition, the certain importance is given to the certain swaras, and a hierarchy of swaras is understood for a raga. So from this saptaka, the standard saptaka, the sa, that is shadja, becomes the primary note for this raga, and the panchama, which is the 5th note, becomes the secondary, which is called as consonant note. So the shadja is called vadiswara, panchama is called samvadiswara, and accordingly there is a hierarchy of ga and dha swara, which are called the primary anuvadi and secondary anuvadis respectively, and the re and ni swaras are called primary and secondary anuvadis, that is the sub-assonant notes, and madhyama or ma is called the second anuvadi. So this is roughly the structure of a raga for computation purpose. Now it can be visually shown in a graphical form that raga has a structure, and there is a hierarchy of swaras from vadi, samvadi and other swaras like anuvadis and to anuvadis. Apart from this hierarchy of swaras, there are certain phrases using these swaras become important for a raga. So these are vadi phrases, samvadi phrases, anuvadi phrases, anuvadi phrases, and there are 2 more categories of phrases called graha phrases and nyasa phrases. Graha phrases means a swara of the first phrase is called graha swara, and for particular raga, a particular graha swara is identified. Similarly, nyasa means to resting swara. So there are certain phrases which are used as resting phrases. So that is the hierarchy of phrases for a raga. Then there are non-specific phrases, which are very generic phrases made up of, say, sequential phrases called when swaras are arranged in sequences. Then there are meaned phrases, which are actually the gliding phrases. Then sanchari phrases are mixed phrases, mixed swara phrases. Alankara phrases are the decorative phrases, and there are many, many complex phrases used in raga. So every raga needs certain raga specific phrases and certain non-specific phrases. Now, the most important aspect of this system is that there is a musical decision-making system. For generating a musical composition, which is called a bandish, it always has a certain structure, and that structure matters for the composition. So it involves number of tala beats, there are rhythmic beats, raga specific phrases, as I mentioned, non-specific phrases, and there are many other factors which impact the musical and aesthetic decision-making process. So this system, the AI raga system, has certain decision-making milestones. It operates in cycles, executing group of tasks until certain criteria are satisfied. So multiple rules are activated during the cycles of this process. Now, bandish, as I said, it's a musical composition, is a well-organized musical expression articulating the aesthetic emotion of the raga. For instrumental music, it is called gata. So as I mentioned, all these swaras, vadi, samvadi and other swaras are important, and swaras using these phrases generate the aesthetic emotion for a raga. In a very strict sense, the structure of bandish is simplified here for computational purpose. A bandish has 3 parts. First is called dhruvapada, that is, the first line of a composition is repeated again and again, and that is called a dhruvapada. Then there is a part of bandish which is called sthai. This is the initial part of the composition, and the second part of the composition is called antara. And then each dhruvapada, sthai and antara has certain structure, which I am explaining very briefly here. The dhruvapada, the first line of sthai is normally considered as dhruvapada. Then sthai has two lines, first line and second line, and antara has first line and second line. The next part of the important part is the called raga vistara. That is the elaboration of the raga, the original raga. So there exists a huge diversity of presentation styles in raga vistara and in Indian music in terms of genre of music, the gharanas or the schools of music, the individual styles of the artist, which is called manodharma, and the multitude of contemporary practices. So this generative theory of Indian music, GTIM, doesn't focus on specific gharanas or specific styles, but it focuses only on the generic principles of how raga vistara or elaboration is performed. So in the AI raga system, not any specific school or particular style is followed. On the other hand, there is a generic style that is developed for the AI raga system. So in this case, AI system generates a bandish or a musical composition in given raga, and it renders without any human assistance. The system is capable of generating appropriate elaborative phrases, tans, then swaravistara, following the rules of Indian music. It requires the aroha or the ascending order of notes, avaroha, that is the descending order of notes, musical notes, and the vadi, that is dominant swara, and samvadi, that is subdominant swara. With this much information, the system generates the raga by itself. Now, very interestingly, this system doesn't have any predefined database of the phrases of the raga. The system generates all the required phrases for the raga on its own by following the generic rules of music. It's a generative system, and this is the major departure from all the models of music and other approaches, whether it is Indian music or Western music. It's a generative system. So this system keeps generating new compositions without repeating them. Presently, the system generates compositions in artificial sound. These are the sounds like artificial flute or shehnai or string-like instruments, string-like sounds. And all the information is available on the website that already I mentioned, the computationalmusic.com. All the information is available on that slide. So now I would like to show the audience how the system generates music by itself. So there is going to be a demonstration of the system. Now let us see how artificial intelligence system generates music by itself. So this is a system where there are many clickables. Here I am clicking on the link called Popular Ragas. So it will show the dialogue where you have to choose the scale of the music. Here I am choosing the 22 Shruti scale, which is Indian microtones. Then I am choosing a raga. Here I am choosing raga called, say for example, say Bhimapalas raga I am selecting, and then Teen Tala as a rhythmic beats I am selecting. It will be generated in Druta, that is the fast tempo, and I am selecting a musical instrument, set of musical instrument, which sounds like an instrument called sarod. With this, I will just click on this OK button, and now the system will start generating the musical composition. So now system already has started the generating music. It will take a few seconds. It says that the Gata Bandish is generated at C drive, Vidwans folder and Sanika, is the sonico.sco is the file name. So I will come out of this system and I will go to the C drive. So now I'm converting this file into the file called Z. I'm rendering it now. Yes, it has started rendering and it has started generating the file. Yes, so it has generated the converted the text file into an audio file, and now we can listen to the audio file. Here is the Z file which I am going to now play, and now you can listen to the actual music. Well, so that is the way artificial intelligence generates Indian AI music. It helps us understand the structure of raga. It helps us understand what are the aesthetics principles behind the music generation and raga generation. So I think here I would like to conclude my presentation. Thanks a lot.
Our next keynote speaker is an associate professor, audio engineering and acoustics at Birmingham City University. He will be speaking on the topic generating music through machine learning, experience in using machine learning to understand stylistic differences between traditional Irish flute players. Professor Isla Ali McLachlan.
My name is Isla Ali McLachlan. I'm Research Group Leader of the Acoustics and Audio Analysis Group at Birmingham City University. And today I'm going to talk to you about computational analysis of playing style in traditional Irish flute playing. I'm going to talk about some machine learning methods that we can use to analyse the playing style of different players within these traditions. The kind of flute that's used in traditional Irish music is a blackwood flute. So it's typically an open hold flute with sometimes some metal keys on it, as you can see here. The problem definition that I undertook many years ago when I first started this research was to try to see if we could understand the differences between the playing styles of different players. Differences can sometimes come about in a timbral way, so the way that players play flutes and make them sound, but it can also be temporal. It can be in the way that they play different ornaments, which are part of the tradition in order to individualize particular tunes. So ornaments can be the way that fingers are moved, the way that breath is articulated, and many other things. The history of this type of flute, which may not be something that you've seen before, really goes all the way back to the 1500s and actually far beyond that. Really since very early days, people used tubes of any material that they could find in order to produce music. By the 1500s, we had a fairly organized tenor flute that was made of either wood or bamboo or cane, depending upon the part of the world that you were from. By the 1600s, these started to get more refined with the idea that part of the bore or the hole inside would be straight and the other part would be conical, giving you a little bit more stability. By the 1800s, keys were added in order to make the instrument fully chromatic from 8 keys. At this point, Boehm and the metal flute stepped in, and that had its own trajectory, but the Irish traditions still much prefer the use of the blackwood flute, mainly because the holes are open and it allows for faster ornaments to be played during a typical rendition of any music. The way that a flute is played is, if you look at the illustration on the left-hand side, the air is streamed out of your mouth towards a blade, which is at the far end, which is cut in the flute via a hole, and different players will be able to create slightly different sounds. An example of this shown on the right is 3 different players were asked to play a G note, G5 on the flute, and as you can see by the different spectrums here, player C in yellow has less energy at the lower frequencies and really less energy overall, whereas player B and C are quite typical in the lower to mid frequencies, and player B particularly is able to sustain that energy into higher frequencies. Player B in this case is actually a more experienced flute player, and player C is the least experienced out of the 3. So being able to produce these kind of timbral energies is something that can be practiced over time. In this case, from early research, I also looked into the idea of taking individual notes. Again, this is an example of a single note on the left-hand side, a D5, looking at the central third of the note, also the attack phase of it right at the start of the note and the release phase right at the end, to see what timbral differences there were. And we actually find there are quite pronounced differences between different players. We have some players who are more likely to attack into notes, other players who play more smoothly, and this is just all part of individual playing styles. One of the great motivations for classification was really to allow us to look at maybe who played on a particular recording if we weren't too sure, but also what tended to happen over time. Do early recordings sound different, or are they played different from later recordings? Do we have a particular style of playing from a geographical location? So there were many things that we wanted to be able to use this data to actually understand. There are some stylistic differences between players that are made quite obvious when we listen to them. So I'm going to give you a few examples of these. So we'll start with Matt Molloy, who's probably one of the most famous of Irish flute players. Okay, and then we'll listen to Harry Bradley. So Harry's playing is a lot more staccato, and his breath ornaments are different. He's a more attacky player. He doesn't use finger ornaments as much in the same sort of way as Matt Molloy does. If we also listen to Catherine McAvoy, you would hear a different style again. And we'll finish with Conal Grada. Again, with Conal Grada's playing being a bit harder, we can hear those higher energies in terms of frequency being more energized. One of the issues with using existing recordings is that it's very rare that we would get players playing the same tune. So one of the later studies that I did was to go out and record lots of different flute players playing the same tunes. So here would be an example of a number of different players playing a tune called The Home Ruler, which is a hornpipe. So that's an example of the 6 players as if they were playing together. But let's have a listen to some individual players. So even from those 3, you can see that there are quite different playing styles in there, and these players are quite individual. But when they're put all together, we still get a semblance of the same melody. So in previous work, going back to 2013, so around about 10 years, I started by looking at individual notes, particularly G notes, and trying to work out the strength of the different harmonics between players. So here we can see that player B in this case, and this is done over a large number of individual notes, player B tends to have less energy within the first harmonic and fourth harmonic when plotted together. Player C tends to have higher energies, particularly in the first harmonic, although not too different in the fourth harmonic. And player A, is far more consistent, but tends to have a higher energy in the first harmonic rather than the fourth harmonic. So again, we were able to get an understanding of the timbre of different players by using this type of analysis. Here are some more graphs in this area, first against second and first against third. And this gives us an understanding that player B, which came from the same study where I talked about player B earlier on, is a more experienced player and is able to access higher harmonic magnitudes in the second and third harmonic, a thing that has to be trained as part of the embouchure and gives for a style that is certainly more accomplished and that it's acknowledged within the modern form of playing. Part of the one of the earliest studies I did was to look at whether different flutes made a difference to how people played, and very interestingly we found in this that looking at 6 different flutes and the 3 different players, there were very little difference between the flutes in comparison to the embouchures and the way that different people play. So it was particularly an answer to whether it was worth investing in a very expensive flute, and it showed that, I'm glad to say, it's way more important to learn to play an instrument well and to concentrate on an embouchure in terms of being able to get the kind of tonal characteristics that you desire, because buying an expensive flute won't particularly do that. In order to analyze pre-recorded tracks, there was quite a long process of taking around about 100 different recordings and splitting those up into individual notes, looking at the onset and offset time of those notes and things like the duration of them, what the pitch was, and whether they were part of an ornament or part of a normal note. For this kind of analysis, we ended up using Tony, which is part of the Sonic Visualizer suite that was developed by Queen Mary's in London. And this formed part of the data set that I eventually used for a lot of the studies. The data set I developed was called ITM Flute 99 and took 99 solo recordings, which contained approximately 18,000 different notes, cuts, strikes, and breaths, so different events that we could analyze. Due to difficulties with pre-recorded tracks not containing the same tunes, I decided to also go out and record a set of those. So I recorded 6 flute players playing 8 different tunes in a number of different contexts. I was also able to, with the second data set, collect metadata like which flute they'd played, what kinds of other players influenced them, and lots of other important background information. This is a picture of the different players and some of their flutes. The way that we incorporated machine learning into this was by using convolutional neural networks, which are actually trained on pictures of MFCCs, like the one on the right-hand side. So we downsampled the audio to 22.05 kilohertz, 16-bit mono, and this enabled us to use pictures to train. The evaluation strategy for this was to look at one of our players against the other 5 as a simplified 2 class, and then one player against the other 5 and all the original pre-recorded recordings that we had as a more realistic 2 class. And then we did the same for multi-class and also for realistic multi-class, including the extra noise from the other recordings. So the results for 2 class were that when we take one player and we look at them against the other 5, we have an accuracy for all players of over 98%. When we add the extra noise, we still have over 97% accuracy. So we can actually tell one player from the other 5 with great accuracy. Some players were easier to identify than others, and you can see this from the bar graph. When we looked per track, we found that there were some tracks where players were easier to identify than others, and this was quite important as well. When we went on to multi-class, then we found that individual players, when put against each other, we still got very high ability to predict. And when we added the extra noise of all the other recordings, again, we're still able to keep comfortably over 90% in each case. I find that in 2 class, if a player has a particular effect that they use as part of their playing, like a rhythmic effect or a harder tone, it's easier to identify them. Similarly, in multi-class, we found that a player that has a harder tone, because it is slightly away from the norm, is easier to classify and identify. So finally, in conclusion, we are able to identify particular players with a high level of accuracy. 2 class is more efficient than multi-class for single player recognition. It's an easier problem in terms of machine learning. Players are also easier to recognize when they have played the tune more than once. So on the second repeat, they probably play in a more naturalized form. They are easier to recognize when they're not playing to metronome. Again, they're likely to be playing more naturally. And when we record them playing a track of their choosing rather than a track of ours, again, it's easier to recognize them, probably because they're more comfortable playing those tunes. So I hope you've enjoyed this presentation and that it's given you an idea of how to use machine learning to look at style of playing of traditional music. Thank you very much.
Welcome all to the 7th World Music Conference. I'm Khadr Hamdan from Syria. I'm 14 years old. I started learning music since I was 5 years old, until I have now become a player on several musical instruments, such as drum, piano, and oud. I have won several awards at the level of my country, Syria, in music, academic excellence, in reading and language competitions. I'm currently linking technology with education and music by learning electronic music notation applications. I thank my family and Maestro Salim Shahoun because they supported me and they believed in my talent, and I am pleased with my participation in this conference as a musician within the EMAR Music Orchestra, and thank you. Hello, I'm Khadr Hamdan from Syria. I'm a musician in EMAR Music Orchestra. I'm currently working on employing technology and electronic music notation programs. Please come with me together to share a method of notation a small piece of music. We determine musical rules of the piece by the scale guides, and the required time forms. We will begin notation أفراح العيد. In this process, I was able to employ artificial intelligence in the service of music. Now, I will employ artificial intelligence in the audiovisual scene. In this space, please follow along me.
Hello, I am Zio Sami Mehub from Syria. I am a violinist in the Imar Orchestra. I want to thank Maestro Salim Shahou, who helped me to participate in the 7th World Music Conference. And I thank my father, who encouraged me to learn music since I was a child. Now, I am trying to employ artificial intelligence and technology in my musical trainings, musical preparation, rhythm and timing. Now, I will listen to you two pieces of music. The first is The Storm by Vivaldi, and I will present it solo. for the second, it is played in Eastern Barawa and will be with the help of technology and artificial intelligence.
Hello everyone to the World Music Conference. My name is Malak Abbas. I'm from Syria. I'm 8 years old. I train in the Imar music group. I practice playing the violin and I love music because it helps me think about musical notes and to study math.
Hello everyone, I'm Hala Mansour from Syria, a guitarist in the Imar Orchestra led by Maestro Salim Shahoud. I'm very happy to participate in the 7th World Music Conference on the relationship of music to artificial intelligence that I'm actually trying to work on by preparing musical accompaniments through applications and then implementing it with the music that I like. I like to thank my family, of course, for supporting me. And now, please listen to me as an example of that. Thank you so much.
Hello everyone, my name is Taim Abbas. I'm from Syria. I'm 10 years old. I play the piano in the Imari music groups with the Professor Salim Shahoud. Music has helped me develop my skill in movement, singing and reading throughout my life. Therefore, I love music and I'm happy to participate in the World Music Conference. Thank you all.
Hello everyone to the 7th World Music Conference. My name is Hala Abdullah, I'm from Syria and I'm 14 years old. I am happy to participate this year as a violinist in the Imam Music Orchestra led by Maestro Salim Shahoud. Music helps me express feelings and develop skills and intelligence through listening and playing music. reading and analyzing musical notes, in addition to developing linguistic and motor skills, and organization in work, study, and learning. Thank you all.
Hello, my name is Heloísa Leto. I am 12 years old. I am from Brazil and my teacher is Samuel Quito. Does musical competence influence intelligence? Yes, I think so. For example, music helps me a lot to resolve math problems and to improve my concentration. Thanks.
Hello, my name is Ana Julia. I am 17 years old. I speak from Brazil, and my teacher is Samuel Quinto. But the question that I wanted to answer today is what makes music a pleasant sensory experience? Well, in my opinion, I think what makes music a pleasant sensory experience is its beauty. All human beings are somehow attracted to what is pretty, and when we listen to something pretty, we hear something pretty, we stop and start paying attention to what we're listening to find out what we are listening. And with music, it's no difference. When we listen to some classical music and it's pretty, we stop and start enjoying to what we're listening, and it's really, really, really amusing. So that's why I think music is a pleasant sensory experience because of its beauty.
Hi, I'm Gilgi and I really enjoy playing the alto saxophone. As a member of youth band, I feel very proud of myself because I know that I achieved my dreams of music. Every time that we play in the youth band, we learn from our voices, and the next time that we will play, the music piece that we'll play, it gets better.
Hi, I'm Bill and I enjoy playing tuba and I'm proud of myself because I play in the band.
Hi, I'm Diamantina and I like playing flute because it sounds very, very nice.
Hi, my name is Paraskevas and I play the euphonium. I enjoy playing euphonium because it's a family tradition.
I really enjoy playing a musical instrument because I feel like music can help everybody have a more good day and feel better. I play the xylophone and I feel like it's a good instrument to know how to play. As a member of the youth band, I feel like I take an important place in that band because I play an instrument that helps the band. It sounds good to hear and it makes the whole song a bit better than it should be without it. And I feel really good being a member of a youth band.
My name is Gerasimos. I play the trombone. I love music.
I enjoy playing a musical instrument because I love music and I think music makes everyone else feel better.
Hello, my name is Alexandros and I feel like I achieve progress in every rehearsal. Every rehearsal is important and I feel like I'm getting creative and better at music at every rehearsal I take part of.
Warm-up and tuning is considered the most important part of the of its rehearsal. There is a certain procedure before tuning and warming up our instruments. It's just to play one note and with our mouthpieces so that we that we fix our embouchure. For example, clarinets may produce a high F sharp with their mouthpiece only. Can I hear your F sharp, please? All together. Then the flutes may produce with their head joints A 440. Is it the correct A? Please stay in tune. Don't force it so much. And it is important that every part of the instrument may create create the full sound of the instrument. So what happens wrong here? They overblow. By overblowing, sound goes out of pitch. So let's try once more. A nice sounding A. That's better. Let's start from where you stopped. By the beginning. Steady blowing. Then saxophones may use the upper part of the saxophone to create a low D. Try to keep in tune and don't overblow. Overblowing is all the time creating problems on the correct pitch. We need to have a steady blow and firmly close our lips. Okay, let's try once more. Try to stay in tune. That's better. Trombone is by itself a tuner, because we can tune it by going up and down its valve. But to shape a great embouchure, it's good to start blowing without its curve, blowing the D of the fourth position. Let's make it. This is low. This is G. This is low G. That is. Let's go 1, 2. Great. Trumpets as well should play a low D without the without this part. Yes. Take it out, and the horn as well. Well done. Same as the trombones, tubas and baritons may produce a low D. Okay. The selection of the repertoire for the youth band has includes three major points. First of all, to improve the technique of the band. Secondly, to improve musicianship, and of course, to choose some music that children like to perform, and the audience, their parents, their friends would like to hear. After the first part of the rehearsal that contains the tuning procedure and warming up, we're starting on rehearsing our repertoire. We're playing some rock music. That makes fun for everyone. But tempo, rhythm is important to play this kind of music. You will see now how we construct this music by achieving a good level in each of the 3 points of the music: rhythm, melody, and the melody, the counterpoint, and of course the rhythm. That is the 3 major building blocks of the repertoire. Let's start from the rhythm percussion, and we have to play the first part of this music. So, bass drum, the cymbal on its quarters. Okay, let's go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's try to play its flavor on the cymbal. That makes tempo more fluid. Let's go. Play.
مرحبا بكم. أنا ممتن جدا بمشاركتي في المؤتمر العالمي للموسيقى الافتراضي الدورة السابعة 2023 ببرمنغهام إنجلترا. ستعرفون عن تجربتي مع الموسيقى وفوائدها على حياتي وإبراز دور الذكاء الاصطناعي في الموسيقى. اسمي غيث عزوز، عمري 17 سنة، من دولة تونس، تلميذ بالسنة الثالثة ثانوي شعب التقنية. أمارس موهبة الموسيقى كعازف على آلة الأورج. لقد تم اكتشاف موهبتي من قبل مدرسي في رياض الأطفال، وقد كان عمري آنذاك 5 سنوات. كنت أحسن العزف على آلة الإيقاع، ولتنمية موهبتي قرر والدي تسجيلي بمعهد الخاص للموسيقى. دخلت المعهد عمري 6 سنوات، وقد تزامن ذلك مع دخولي إلى المدرسة الابتدائية السنة الأولى. كانت بدايتي في المعهد على آلة البيانو، ثم مع الوقت تخصصت في العزف على آلة الأورج. أفضل عزف الموسيقى التونسية والشرقية خاصة، وأنا الآن بصدد الإعداد للمشاركة في الامتحان الوطني لدبلوم الموسيقى العربية. لقد شاركت في عديد التظاهرات الوطنية والدولية. أذكر مشاركتي في مهرجان ومؤتمر الموسيقى العربية بدار الأوبرا المصرية بالقاهرة الدورة 31 سنة 2022، خلالها تحصلت على جائزة العزف المميز. ساعدتني الموسيقى كثيرا في دراستي، حيث تمكنني من التركيز وتعزيز مهارات الرياضيات، وتجعلني أتعامل مع المواد الصعبة بشكل أفضل. فالنماذج الإيقاعية والتنظيم الزمني في الموسيقى تساهم في تطوير مهارات المنطق والحساب. كما أن الموسيقى لها أهمية كبيرة في تجديد نشاطي اليومي، وذلك بالابتعاد عن الضغط النفسي بعد تعب اليوم، حيث تقوم بتحسين مزاجي، مما يجعلني أقبل على الدراسة بطريقة أفضل. حين أمارس الموسيقى في إطار مجموعة موسيقية، أستفيد بتدريبي على العيش الجماعي وعلى كيفية التعامل مع الآخرين، كما نتبادل الأفكار والآراء في مجال الموسيقى، مما ينمي معارفي. فيما يخص تجربتي في اعتماد الذكاء الاصطناعي في مجال الموسيقى، فهو يلعب دورا هاما من خلال توليد الموسيقى تلقائيا باعتماد خوارزميات مثل موقع بيتهوفن.ai، من خلال تحليل ومعالجة البيانات الموسيقية المطلوبة من قبل المستخدم. كذلك يمكن استخدام الذكاء الاصطناعي لتحسين الإنتاج الموسيقي ومعالجة الصوت، مما يساهم في تنقية وتحسين الخلفيات الصوتية. والآن سأقدم لكم كوكتيل من ألحان بليغ حمدي. شكرا لكم على المتابعة.
Hi, my name is Anas and I'm 7 years old. I have been playing piano for 1 year and my teacher is Miss Fatima, and I like piano because it makes me satisfied. You want to see a trophy? Okay, here it is. It's from last year's talent show, because I did a very good piano song, which is Beethoven.
We present a special segment called Creative Insights. This segment will highlight special focus and insights about music and AI. Is AI the future of music or a threat to humanity? Our first speaker is Krishnan Sastry from Andhra Pradesh, India. He hailed from a family of music connoisseurs. He has written 2 articles for arts magazine Shruti. He is very much interested to explore the lyrical as well as the musical beauty in the South Indian classical music composition.
Namaskaram to one and all. This is P. Radhakrishna Shastri, and I am extremely delighted to be the part of World Music Conference, and I would like to express my sincere thanks and gratitude to Vidushi Dr. Chitra Ramakrishnan Madam for giving me the opportunity to speak on impact of AI on Indian classical music. So first of all, we need to understand the evolution of the music learning. So like till mid 1950s, the music learning was only confined to a Gurukula Vasam. Means the student who aspired to learn music has to search for a guru and then stay with the guru, with guru's house, and there has to be a personal good relationship with the guru for over a period of 1.5 or even 2 decades as well. And then the student has to travel along with the guru for the concerts, accompany him or her, and then learn music. So after that, the advent of music colleges as well as like universities offering courses with respect to music, but still even till date the Gurukula Vasa Paddhati is still very prominent. Like even for a period of 1 year or 2 years, so this particular mode of learning is been more popular. And then like later on in 1970s or 1980s, so I was told by someone that so AIR Vijayawada used to conduct a music class program named as a Sangeeta Sikshana, where the great legend vocalist Vidwan Shri Voleti Venkateshwarlu Garu, he used to conduct a music class program in All India Radio, where he used to teach compositions of Trinity as well as some rare compositions of Tanjavur Quartet. And everyone who has the radio in their home, they could switch on the radio and they could have the music lessons right from their house. And AIR's monthly magazine used to publish the notations of the compositions that has been taught in that particular episodes. So and after over 1990s or what somewhere, where the telephones were prominent, if suppose say that the student is in Delhi and the guru is in Chennai, so over telephonic conversation the music lesson sharing has to be done. And then right after 2000 to 2010, like this Skype has become very popular for distance mode learning. We can see that many NRI students could get the music lessons over the Skype. And post COVID-19, this online mode or distance mode learning has even become more popular. So we could have now multiple platforms. Like earlier, Skype is the only platform for video conferences. We are now having Zoom, Cisco WebEx, Microsoft Office Teams, and as well as Google Meet, where the students could learn via online mode. Now coming to the advent of AI. So first of all, we need to understand that if AI has to become a good music teacher, So first of all, any AI model, it's not only just for music teaching. If AI wants to gain command over something, it has to be feed a large amount of data. Now large amount of data, from where it can come? Suppose say that if AI has to become a music teacher, so it has to be fed everything, like start from the basics of the scales, and then talams, and then swarasthanams, scales of popular ragam. Suppose say that if I want to make AI as a basic teacher, right from Sarali Varsai till Varnam. Now what I need to feed is all the verses, and then I need to differentiate this ragams. Why? Because we know that the basic lessons of verses are taught in Maya Madhavgaula and Shankarabharana ragam. So I need to feed AI about this Swarasthanams of Maya Madhavgaula and then Shankarabharanam, and then mostly and then this Sula, the Saptatala scheme, and then followed by Varnams. So where when coming to Varnam, like we are having like a different ragams. So right starting from the Geetams itself, we could have a various gamut of ragas, what I can say. Why? Because till Varisais, till Alankarams, what I am doing is we are learning in Maya Madhavgaula and Shankarabharanam. So when coming to Geetam, so we were exposed to various ragams. So one will learn Malahari, so which is derived from Maya Madhavgaula, and then one will learn Mohana Raga Geetam, and then coming to Swarajatis, so where one will be exposed to the Ragam Bilahari, and then followed by Yadukala Kamboji, Todi and Bhairavi, and then coming to Varnam. So various gamut of ragas one will be exposed. So if AI has to become a good teacher, so it has to be fed completely about, if suppose say that one ragam is there, Todi. If AI has to become a good music teacher in Todi, it has to be fed a large number of compositions in Todi, and so AI also should have an effective ear for differentiating Gandharam and Nishadam in Todi and its associated Gamakas. So actually till basic lessons AI can also be a good music teacher. But the thing is, like AI, in my opinion, AI can be used as only a supportive aid. So we cannot say AI as a music teacher in an autopilot mode. So that's all overall I can say. So an impact of AI on music. So while particularly coming to music learning is like, so first of all, a teacher, whether in person or in distance via some video meeting applications, so a person should start learning, and AI should be only used as an additive support, but not to be expected a foolproof teacher in an autopilot mode. So suppose say like rhythmic and melodic patterns, here we need to have like exposures to various thalams, and like it's about like a number of beats and number of aksharams per beat. So this cycle information knowledge need to be fed to the AI. So as I have earlier said that whatever AI model we are designing, so an AI model has to be fed large amount of data. So the more diversified and large amount of data we feed, so an AI can better perform in generating so whatever output. So this is applicable in any field. So it's not just only music, but in any field it is applicable. Now the thing is like rhythm means we know that basic of talam. Suppose say that if I want to say Adi talam, so we know that it's 8 beats, and in Chatushra Nadai like per one beat 4 aksharams and 8 fours are 32. So suppose if I want to generate swaras patterns for 3 cycles of Adi talam, so like 32 into 3 96. So in the 96 also we can have like a different combination of jatis. Like we can have an incremental jati where like 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 and so on, and then repetition of patterns like that. So with the combination of jati we can form one yati. So there are multiple combinations are there. And suppose say that if I am having a number 96, suppose say that this is the counts to 3 cycles of aditala 96. Now 96 is also multiple of 24. Now 24 corresponds to what I can say that 6-beat cycle Rupak Talam in Chatushra Nadai. So 6 4s are 24. So this particular 96 Swara pattern can also correspond to 4 cycles of Rupak Talam, as well as now this 24 number is also I can say it as a Aditalam in Tisra Nadai. So Tisra Nadai means like a 3 aksharams per beat and 8 3s are 24. So like it will correspond to 4 cycles of Tisra Nadai Aditalam, as well as it will correspond to 4 cycles of Rupak Talam along with 3 cycles of Aditalam. So this type of combination is also possible. Suppose say that if I take a large number, say 180. Now 180 is a multiple of 10. It's a multiple of 5 also. So I can have a big pattern of multiple cycles of Khanda Chapatalam, since it is a multiple of 10. And then we could have like it is divisible by 36. So now 36 means here what I can correspond to is like, so 36 divided by 4 is 9. So we are having which talam is a 9-beat cycle. So if we say that like Chatushra Jati Triput Talam is Adi Talam, which is a 8-beat cycle, and Adi Talam plus one more beat. So the 9-beat cycle is Khanda Jati Triputa Talam. So I can have this as like a Khanda Jati Triputa Talam. I can form 5 cycles out of it. So suppose say that I will take a number 140. So 140 I can correspond to, since it is a multiple of 10 is there, and also it is a multiple of 7. So I can form patterns of so if AI can generate a pattern of 140, then now it is the job of a person to make it like a different patterns set in different talam for different cycle. Even we can feed that information to AI also. So like give me pattern of 140. So it is about how intelligently we are prompting the AI to generate the rhythmic and melodic pattern. Suppose I say that give me one common pattern, so that can satisfy Khanda Chaputalam, Mishra Chaputalam, and then so what are other talams are there, then it will generate the pattern accordingly. Now the problem comes where they articulating this particular rhythmic or melodic pattern. So suppose say that like Rasikas or an audience of music, so they are used to get one mode of particular talam. If suppose say that if that particular talam is there or particular ragam is concerned, so they are familiar with one kind of a pattern. So now since AI is fed diversified things, it can generate diversified patterns. Now whenever an artist is performing such patterns, so what is the amount of acceptability of the Rasikas if they hear something new in the same ragam? So now initially so they will be reluctant to respond, and as the time passes on, the acceptability will be more. So this is my view with respect to generation of rhythmic and melodic patterns in Indian classical music using AI. Now the first thing I want to say is like Indian classical music is a perennial river. So like it will not get exhausted or dried up anyway. One thing is like we know, if we know physics, so there is something named as a law of conservation of energy, which says that energy neither be created nor be destroyed, but it can be converted in one form to another form. So we can say that over this particular 1 century, so our Indian classical music, particularly Carnatic music, has also changed from form to form, but it remains constant. And what we can say is the love and affection towards this classical music among generations, it's been increasing. So it's not we need not worry that Indian classical music has become an extinct art form. So it is growing day by day. Now coming about what is about future of musicians. Now like earlier what I feel that musicians has to only practice, perform, so that's all. But nowadays musician has to do multiple roles. So they need to be active on social media, as well as they need to be very much active in professional platforms. They need to do PR for themselves, and so many more things. So if so a musician, if they want to get in touch with the Rasikas, so they used to have a YouTube channel, and they should every now and then post schedules of their concerts or leg dems, or they should prepare some short videos narrating their experiences, or short videos of rendering some compositions. So what I feel is like in yesteryears musicians, it was like practice, perform, teach and repeat, so that cycle. But nowadays like a musician has to perform multiple roles apart from the practice, perform and teach. So that's I feel about musicians. They need to be always active on socially, or that's what I personally feel. I won't say that it is strictly that a musician should be active on social media or active on professional platforms like LinkedIn, but this is what I felt that so slowly, so this is also a form of evolution. Like now a musician has to adapt to this kind of thing. And now the second thing is like so there are many musicians are nowadays coming. So what about the future of musician? So musician as a full-time career, I am actually not very much sure that how can it be useful as a full-time career for earning livelihood. But the thing is like I am working in IT, and suppose whenever a recession comes, so I usually very much feel fear about it. Okay, tomorrow whether my job will go, or whether I will retain. So like when I speak to my peers and some of my seniors, so they say that if you keep staying on updated and upskilled, so there will be no one to fire you. So in the similar way what I feel is, so this is applicable anyway, even in the music field also. If suppose say that practitioner or a performer, if he or she is doing the same thing, so there is a definitely what I can say that no worrying about future for music aspirants. So I would like to thank once again Vidushi Dr. Chitra Ramakrishnan Madam for giving me the opportunity to speak a few words about AI and its impacts on classical music in World Music Conference. Namaskaram.
Our next speaker is Dr. Ramya Palachola, MD and PhD. She is a physician scientist with training in clinical medicine, public health, and advanced research methods. She is a musician, dancer, and a leader with extensive experience in designing, evaluating, and implementing digital health technologies and AI solutions in large health systems and academic medical cares.
So I think, the topic of what the impact of AI has been on Indian classical music and what impact it'll have going forward in the future years, it's a very interesting question. And I particularly want to talk about one example that is very intriguing to me personally as well. There are some researchers in India that have looked into sort of extensively studied the ancient treatises on Indian music, whether it's Natya Shastra of Bharata or Sangeet Ratnakar of Sharangadeva, and all of which are the common foundations for both Hindustani and Carnatic music. And what they found is that all of these musical concepts mentioned in these treatises are profound, and there exists sort of a logical consistency between them. So they started working on what we call a rule-based expert system, which is an AI-enabled system that can essentially create compositions in any raga, in any given raga, essentially, and also render it in a very traditional classical style. So this is a very interesting application of the AI technology, right? And so how does this kind of a technology or innovation impact the current music scenario? Now, these AI-enabled systems, along with the composition in the given raga, can also generate what we call a text file, which can be really helpful for future reference and analysis to study that particular composition. So it can be a great tool to learn music and understand the rules with the help of a text file. Now, this software is also capable of generating novel musical phrases which are appropriate for a specific raga. So what this is essentially, a tool that could be very useful for even experienced musicians as a supplementary tool for their riyaz or practice. And again, another interesting way to use this tool is for those who are involved or researchers involved in the field of musicology to test some of the existing theoretical concepts in Indian music. And and even for a common listener like me, this tool can be very handy to sort of create new compositions every time I want to listen to a specific raga. And if I like it, I can save it and listen to it again and again without, repeating them. And also what is interesting is that some of these innovations like this can produce flute-like sound and artificial sound of tanpura, which sound very accurate, very, I think this is in general a very innovative use of technology, particularly related to the Indian classical music scene. And, then venturing sort of into, can the AI generated rhythmic patterns or compositions or essentially, AI rendering music like a trained musical performer, will that have the same kind of soul and sort of feel as what a music performer can bring about? In my personal opinion, probably not, particularly if I know that AI is creating these rhythmic patterns. Now, we've all seen AI-generated art images that are extremely captivating to the human eye and are probably on par or even better than what humans can make. But I think at the end of the day, for those who really appreciate the art, when you put them side by side and really compare and look into it more deeply, I think you will see a certain difference and lack of soul there. And that's probably not something everybody might perceive. Maybe those who are more and sort of deeply involved with the art can really, acknowledge. So, all this is to say that I think AI has great potential to transform any industry, not just musical industry. And, we have people all around saying this all the time. Well, can it replace humans completely in other, in a lot of functions? No, the answer is almost always no. And yeah. So the question on whether AI and the developments in AI should replace humans in the music industry, particularly, is a very interesting one. And it's very similar to the question that's often posed in the healthcare world as well. Should AI solutions replace doctors in patient care and treatment? And this is a very debatable but interesting topic as well. And I'll start with saying that in my class, I always start with one equation for my students to ponder about. The equation goes this way: humans greater than machines, or machines greater than humans. And the answer is almost always humans plus machines are greater than just machines alone. So I think this stands true not just for the healthcare industry, but the music industry as well. with the AI revolution making its way into, every industry practically, it's not possible to turn a blind eye and ignore what AI can do for the industry. So, I think most pragmatic and possible way to go forward in such a complex situation is to really lean into the strengths of the machine. Classical music performers take years to train their voice, to train their art, and really be able to, develop their own aesthetics in this area of expertise. And I think, without that human soul, there can be a lot of emptiness in music. And I think the best way forward is to, of course, leverage AI in developing maybe new patterns of, rhythmic patterns. And who knows, there might be a Raga GPT soon, because GPT is already doing a lot of great things in the realm of language. So there might be a Raga GPT soon. And so I think this is to say that we must really lean into the strengths of the machine, but we must always have the humans at the head of this, at the very sort of helming all of this and really taking us forward with music.
Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of the patrons and advisors of the British Carnatic Choir, I would like to extend my heartiest congratulations to all the awardees at the British Carnatic Choir Awards for Arts and Culture 2023. I would like to express my sincere gratitude to all the experts and professionals for their participation and for their valuable time and excellent support. We are always delighted to engage young people at our conference. We would like to express our hearty congratulations and appreciation to all those who took part in the conference this year. Hope you could all watch the 7th Annual World Music Conference and gain some valuable perspectives from the conference and appreciate the amazing performances by young people. On behalf of the patrons and advisors of the World Music Conference, I would like to extend my heartfelt thanks to Honorable Prime Minister of Great Britain, Mr. Rishi Sunak, for his good wishes, Mr. James Omerbridge, FRSA, Secretary General and Chief Executive, and the team at United Kingdom National Commission for the UNESCO, Mr. Alphonse Karabuda, President of the Swedish Society of Songwriters, Composers and Authors, and former President of the International Music Council, His Excellency Dr. Shashank Vikram, IFS, Consul General of India in Birmingham and Chief Patron of the World Music Conference, Councillor Chaman Lal, Lord Mayor of Birmingham and Patron of the British Carnatic Choir, Sir John Crabtree, OBE, His Majesty's Lord Lieutenant of the West Midlands, Dr. Andy Street, CBE, Combined Mayor of the West Midlands, and my mentor and patron of the British Carnatic Choir and the World Music Conference, Dr. Paul Sabapatiji, CVO, CBE, for his guidance and excellent support. I wish you all a very happy and festive season ahead and a very prosperous new year. I look forward to seeing you all at the 8th Annual World Music Conference in 2024.